the angle side, you need at least a bit two pairs of congruent angles and a pair of congruent sides on both triangles. Here it's kind of different, right? Why? You need two pairs of congruent angles and a congruent side in between the two angles. That's the only difference, right? Um, let's kind of practice this and see what we can do with the examples that I'll be providing you and see if you are able to answer them correctly, okay? So the first example here, I'm kind of already giving you a like example here. Here, the red marking here is not really shown in the previous examples. Imagine like it's just blank, right? I should have erased this earlier. So here, this is not given. This is what I concluded. How do I know that there's vertical angles in this pair of triangles, right? Before I talk about the vertical angles, let's talk about the. Where is the paper? Momento. Okay, here. Sorry about that. Here, angle A is congruent to angle D. In the first triangle, angle A is congruent to angle D, and they are corresponding as well. So it's easy to see, right? And they are congruent due to the arc marks. The second part I see in this here is segment BC is congruent to segment CE. I'm just gonna put up markers here. So here BC in the left side of the triangle is congruent to CE on the right side of the triangle, right? Or triangle number 1 and triangle number 2. They are congruent due to, it's given that they're congruent due to tick marks, okay? So the last one here is angle C. It's given here. Angle C is going to angle C. You gotta specify though, right? Angle C here is named as has a ray of CA and the ray of CB. Okay, here this angle C here on the second triangle. It has a ray of CD, which is here in the left, and the ray of CE, which is on the right. Okay, they are congruent. Why am I saying that they're congruent? Because of vertical angles. Vertical angles means that when two lines intersect, the opposite angles are congruent. Okay. So now I know that I have a fact of angle, side angle, right? I have an angle that's congruent, and a side that's congruent, and an angle that's congruent. Now let's visualize this question here, right? Does it follow a pattern of angle side, or does it follow the pattern of angle side angle, or are they both don't follow a pattern and they're just not congruent at all? In between, right? Which is okay because it's just practice. So here is angle side congruent triangle theorem, or is it angle side angle congruent triangle theorem, right? So here kind of you have to follow a pattern, right? Here you can say that the two sides here are not in between the two angles. So automatically it cannot be angle side angle. So for it to be angle side angle, these two sides of AC and DC has to be congruent or be given that they're congruent. But since they're not congruent, then you cannot state that it is congruent at all, and you cannot state that these two triangles are congruent due to the angle side angle, right? It's just angle side. If you look at the left triangle, it's angle side. Look at the right triangle, it's angle side. Okay? So angle side, angle side. Okay. Maybe I'll just write it down. If you want to write it down to help yourself out, right? Copy down the diagram, then that helps out as well. So here, angle side, angle side. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. Um, let's stop the response and let's move on to the next one. So here it is kind of different than the last question. Here you have to, which pair is congruent through the use of the angle side angle congruent triangle theorem. So you have to choose between the two and choose which out of them are congruent. Okay, so let's show our answers. So majority of you already got the following. You follow the pattern of what you saw through the angle side angle, right? Here we're following the pattern of here these two angles are corresponding, right? So it's angle one, angle one. This could also, we could see that this is also corresponding, right? Here we have side, congruent sides here. You can also say this corresponding, but what falls off from this, from these two, is the last corresponding congruent angle, right? Second. This one does not have it, right? So we can just ignore this two, and it follows here. It follows the angle side angle triangle theorem. Angle side angle. So we can state that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EDF. Okay. Through the angle side angle congruent triangle theorem. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Once again, this next one is already everything for you. I'm not gonna write down the sides that are congruent or the angles because a lot of you are kind of used to this already. So let's just work on your strengths. If it's in class, then I'm gonna be kind of strict. Since it's online, I'll be kind of lenient. So here, let's give it is that. Hold on. So congruent is that angle one here on the bottom left is congruent to the top right. Okay. And side number one on the left side here is congruent to the one on the right. Okay. Here, it's also congruent. They're congruent because, once again, I can use a whiteout and let's cover it. Normally, it's not given that they're vertical angles, so you just got to create a conclusion, once again, right? That they are vertical angles. Once again, it's still there, but I'm just showing you an image of what if it's you don't see it right. That do the congruence. Once again, due to vertical angles. Once again, when two lines intersect, opposite angles are congruent. So this is my second angle that's congruent on triangle one and triangle number two. Using this pattern alone, right? How are the two triangles of triangle one and triangle number two? How are they congruent? Between the two, is it angle side angle or is it angle angle side, right? The answer is, once again, one easier way to say it's not angle angle side angle is look at the two angles and in between is there a congruent side, right? There's no congruent side, so it's not angle side angle. Even if you see in the second one here, the congruent side is not in between the two congruent angles. So it cannot be angle side angle. It is angle angle side, angle angle side. Okay. Or you want to read angle angle side, angle side, whichever you want to say. As long as the side is not in between the two angles, then the two triangles require a congruent is because of the angle angle side congruent triangles theorem. Okay. This next one here is let me just redraw it here in the bottom. If you have a hard time visualizing it here, I separated two triangles and these two sides, KM is going to KM because of the reflective property of congruency. The reflective property of congruency means that they share the same side of KM. Since they're the same side, then they are congruent, okay, to itself. I'm gonna do it later. Right? Let's show. So a lot of you answered angle side angle. That is the correct answer. Again, if you just look at this here, you can probably see a pattern already. Follows an angle side angle pattern. Here you see follows an angle side pattern, angle pattern as well. So triangle LKM and triangle JKM is congruent through the angle side angle congruent triangles theorem. Okay. It's pretty self-explanatory based on your observations, right? A lot of you are pretty good at it. Several students are just still finding difficulty through either confusion through the lesson, or you still need more practice, right? I have one more to go. Oh, it's right here. Okay, the last one here is going to be doing this one together. Once again, if you do not like looking at this example here, you can always draw it separately, right? So it makes a lot more easier to visualize, right? You're not looking at it as a whole, you're looking at it as two separate triangles. I think that's what a lot of students get confused about, is when they're looking at these two, they look at one, they don't look at it as two triangles. Here, I put a reflective property of congruency because these two sides share the same side here. It's not given, it's something that you need to conclude on your own. Okay. So these two are congruent. Why are these two triangles congruent? Is it through the Is it through the angle side angle? Is it through the angle side? Or is it through the two triangles not being congruent at all? Okay, last one next. So responses. A lot of you answered number 1, which is angle side angle. Or angle side angle. Yeah, angle side angle. Sorry. So here, if you look at the first angle here is congruent. You have the second angle that's congruent. And you have the side that's also congruent, right? If you follow the pattern on the left side of the triangle, it follows the angle side angle congruent triangle theorem. And here, also here, it follows the angle side angle congruent triangle theorem. So we can make a conclusion that triangle 1 is congruent to triangle number 2 because of the angle side angle congruent triangles theorem. Now for our last one before we end the session is the last question. Okay. So here I just want to emphasize that whenever you see a right angle here, sometimes the book or questions are not shown. Is that there's always if this you see this vertical angles, if this is 90 degrees, so that this is also 90 degrees. Based on vertical angles, right? So here you have congruent angle, you have congruent sides here, LP and congruent to NO, LM is congruent to MO. Right? So following this pattern here, what is the answer for this question? Is it going to the angle side? Is it congruent to the angle side congruent triangle theorem, or is it congruent, or are they not congruent? Your answers. Majority of you answered it is not congruent. The answer is correct. It is not congruent. Why? Because if you look at each triangle separately, For it to be angle side angle or angle angle side, you need about two pairs of congruent angles, right? Here in this example, you only see one pair that's congruent, right? On triangle one is 90 here on angle LFP, and also 90 here, angle LMO, right? NMO. So you only have the congruent angle. So it cannot be angle side angle or it cannot be angle angle side. Okay. So the answer is not congruent. Okay. Can it be side angle side? No. Why? Because it cannot be side angle side because this is two sides congruent. The angle has to be congruent here, right? But they are not. So if they're not, then these two triangles are not congruent at all. Okay. That's all the examples that I want to share. I do hope the lesson was simple. Um, you may begin on your assignments now. For the student that was asking, how do I show my work? To show your work, this is how you show your work. Is you provide me statements on the which angles are congruent and which segment is congruent. This falls under both of lesson 4-2, which is the side, and the side angle side, and it also falls under for this lesson as well. This is how you show your work.